Okay, check. 1, 2. All right, wish me luck. Trying to get started. We'll jump straight in. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwiide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Irritate the maggot in your life by hitting the thumbs up right now. It helps us out in the algorithm. I'm sorry I'm running a little bit late today. We have a family first rule around here, and is it an undisclosed reason? Temporarily so. How do I put this? My health is fine, but this is a HIPAA thing. So, anyways, it's not important to the circumstances because I'm here now. And who is that? Where are you? Here we go. Welcome. Good to see you. Let's see. I'm joining everybody that we got account name Rock Tips. How are you? How do you still have by force of will, Messiah Smurf. Still bearded, although for a very short while, because I think there might be a Nerd Halen gig coming up, and it just doesn't fit. It doesn't work. It's important to me to live up to my character, and my lead singer persona that I take on in Nerd Halen clearly has a lack of testosterone, so it's very important. That I live up to that, as it were. I'm going to grab one more thing. It's just the volume of stupid right now. And the comfort that a lot of these... Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is the thing. This is the thing. Okay, here we go. Grab this guy. Yeah. There's very little of the Trump thing, in front of the Republicans that I think people haven't covered already in terms of just running it ragged. And let me see if I can find the spot where he's running out of material. Yeah, here it is, something like that. But we'll go over a couple of these things. There's plenty to do. I'm sorry I wasn't here yesterday, but it was a travel day. Again, a family thing, and quite important, if I do say so my damn self. And let's see. There's so much to cover. All right, let's jump straight in. This is okay. Primarily, let's figure this out, kids. Primarily, I would say, you wonderful people, that everybody's wondering what in the hell, Venezuela? What the hell? Okay, let me show you, if I may, and I think that I may. The technocratic, whatever, the technocracy of America. Hold on, I accidentally hit the. I was typing and I accidentally hit the emoji button. See of America map. There we go. Now, just to cover this up, the technate, which sounds like tech taint, but that it isn't. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are not familiar, this is the technate of America. This is a map devised by some quite pro Germany circa 1935 Americans, if you know what I'm saying, and some Canadians, namely Elon Musk's maternal grandfather. And the idea is that this would be the future of America. It would be a technate, meaning that it would not be a democracy, it would not be a theocracy or a monarchy or a dictatorship. It would be a technatorship, and it would be run by engineers. And instead of money as a currency based on gold, which has no inherent value, you would have energy certificates. And so based on how much your work output you would do, or how much you were deemed as worthy by the elite engineers that would run everything, you would be doled out a certain amount of energy certificates. And then you could spend those on energy because everything else would effectively be provided for you. You'd get, your daily vitamin gruel and, your once over healthcare system. And if they can't find anything but for looking, they will, turn you loose. Something along those lines.
Moon River.
But the idea is that you get the same care as everybody else. And if whatever you have, whatever ails you, doesn't fit inside that, it's your ass. Sometimes literally. But this map was created by Elon Musk's maternal grandfather. Someone he said was his biggest influence, familial influence in his life, even beyond his parents. And if you'll recognize, this looks a whole lot like the Trump plan from day goddamn one. So I don't know why people aren't. Hold on, let me move this over a little bit so I can show it to you a little better. But I don't know why more attention is not paid to this because look, I understand it's ridiculous. I understand the concept is obnoxious. It's far-fetched. It's fantastical. It's downright. Area 51 meets Bohemian Grove meets MK Ultra. It's that kind of loony bin sort of loosely based on reality type of a story. I get it. Maybe the news, maybe the mainstream media is just embarrassed, or maybe they just don't fucking know. And so if they don't know, I'm here to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the map of the Technate of America. This is the plan. This has been the plan since 1945 from these folks. And some of them kicked out for being too Hitler-friendly from Canada, ended up in South Africa where they really fit in till the end of apartheid. And then at the end of apartheid, they really had an axe to grind with the United States. They were very pissed off at this country that was very pivotal in the end of apartheid. And England too. And they decided they were going to kind of attack both. And one of the ways we were going to do it was get rid of this whole democracy thing and take over and let the engineers run it. And then they would dole out calories, I guess, as energy to those that deserved it. And if you didn't, if you couldn't pull your weight or whatever, they would just slowly wean you off being alive. And this is the concept of the Technate of America. And if you'll notice, Papao, Greenland, Venezuela, Colombia, Central America, mainly Panama Canal, all the way through the United States, including Canada. And you'll see that Trump 51st state and the focus on Greenland and the shit about Venezuela and even Cuba, by the way, this includes all this. Guess what, Cuba? You're next. Colombia, same deal. This is what they are picturing, okay? And every time you see them say something bizarrely outlandish about declaring war in our own hemisphere or taking over a piece of land, it's never outside this map. Okay? None of them are talking about taking over Argentina. It's too far south and the Nazis still own it from when they left and moved into the Hollow Earth or whatever. But if you'll notice, anytime Trump brings up some piece of land that we're going to take over or fuck with or whatever, and by the way, I don't actually think this is going to happen, but I do think they think it's going to happen, and that's dangerous. And so everything they have brought up that we will take and keep, with the exception of Gaza, oddly enough, is in this map. Just saying. There it is. No question. Stop it. Stop pretending you don't know. Like, please, everyone in this fucking ridiculousness, stop pretending that they don't actually have a plan. Now, do I think it's Trump's plan? No. I swear to God, I think most of this shit is somebody going, it'd be really cool if you did this. I swear that's all he needs. Stephen Miller, Don, Elon Musk, Howard Nutt, somebody leans over to him and goes, this would really freak people out, but it'd be so cool if you did this. Everybody's been trying to do this, and I bet you could do it, boss. And then he's like, okay, button, scribble, off it goes. And that's it. The attack on Maduro and the seizure of him it isn't something Trump fucking drafted up. It's been a plan that's been around because we have a plan for everything. It's part of what the Pentagon does. They draft up plans, just in case plans, like in case of emergency, break glass plans for every goddamn thing that could ever fucking happen. It's a good way to keep yourself busy during peacetime. So can I remind everyone, this was drafted up and put out in their magazine in July of 1940, when a bunch of these folks were like, actually, Hitler's not wrong. We just should leave him alone and do a version of our own over here. It's basically ours anyways. Right? And that's the way Trump has been talking about it. Now, do you think he's got any kind of historical awareness, or he's got any depth of understanding of this? Of course not. And by the time it would be implemented, I guess in theory, he would no longer be president and he would just be a beneficiary of the elites in the technate for help making it happen. That's the theory anyways. And I would call it the tech bronate at this point, if you get my meaning. But this is what's going on. This is what Venezuela, this is what Colombia, this is what it's Panama Canal, Central America. We got to start bombing Mexico because the cartels really run it. Canada, 51st state. We need Greenland for national security and world security. That's it. That's the whole goddamn thing. Okay, so can we settle that? Okay, so let's be abundantly clear. Do we have to worry about our savings accounts? No, you do not. Because we're quickly moving to a post-money economy faster, I think, than even most people recognize. And the hardest part is going to be the repricing of everything. That's going to be the biggest. The next big economic shock is going to be the repricing of everything. When the price, because of automation, because of robots, because of AI, blah, 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 there's a certain point where the cost ratio against, it will only be about available materials, but that will be it. And most of the materials are fairly common or can be recycled or can be, in the case of farms, grown anew all the time. And so the hard part will be that once there's no labor involved and very little travel involved in stuff, let's say you're growing in hydroponic farms in cities as opposed to shipping it in from Iowa, those kind of things, that's the future we're headed for. Whether it's 10 years away or 15 years away, that's the next big arc. That's the big monkey wrench thrown in our economic system more than anything. Because what's the point of holding debt if money isn't worth anything anymore? So what happens to your national debt when, even if you got the money back, what the fuck good would it be? And that's what they want to call it, the Great Reset. They think that's Nasara Jasara, which is the elimination of everyone's debt, and that's not what it is at all. It's just that the cost of things will be so low. The fuck is a pile of greenbacks worth? In the Star Trek future that I think most of us are hoping this all heads toward, there just isn't a value in it. I mean, you're not going to be able to have a replicator that gives you a glass of Earl Grey tea, 84 degrees perfectly, every time in its own little cup. Which, by the way, since it makes it in the cup, what do you do with all the cups when you're done, Captain Picard? But you got a big dumpster full of ceramic cups, just fine china cups on a dish. Like you drink it and you're like, oh well, what happens? How's that work? What do you do? Does it get recycled back into other cutlery and dishes? How does that happen? Anyways, I'm not here to poke holes in Next Generation. I love them. Yes, post-scarcity economics is very scary for those people that rely on scarcity for their worth, like the Trumps of the world. So I look forward to them running into that rake when it happens. So until then, though, we get to watch these guys try to play out battles from the fucking 1400s, and I'm not kidding. That this is that when people don't understand the future, they get really fixated on the past. You can see this with Islamists. You can see this with evangelicals that are, hardcore, pining for the 1930s or 50s in the United States, right? People start that when the future gets really scary, they just want to go right back to something that they recognize. Okay, so here's something that we all recognize. Remember Christina Bobb? So I just showed you that map. This is Christina Bobb. She's on Newsmax. And the title of this video that she has up is Trump is priming... Oh, here it is. Trump is priming circumstances for Venezuela, Greenland, Christina Bobb. So she was inside this mess, especially she got ejected relatively early, but she was around when Elon Musk was involved with the campaign and that kind of stuff. So she was within earshot of a lot of this shit. So whether she's aware of it or she's just talking shit, who knows? But I guess we'll find out. This is a fairly short clip. But look at all the boats that are in the Caribbean right now, which we basically pulled out of the Middle East by and large. And since, Ukraine, Russia is a land war and Trump's basically cutting deals with people in the Middle East and in South Asia to just allow pirating and drug trafficking to happen, because it's as long as it doesn't come over here, I don't give a shit where it goes, is their attitude. And as long as they don't take our boats, they can take anybody else's boats they want. And we'll see what her take is on it. But that's why all the boats can afford to be over here. And we're not going to sea war with China anytime soon. We won't use a single battleship or supercarrier in a battle against China. It'll all be sea drones if it happens.
All right. The same day President Trump is meeting with oil companies in the future of Venezuela.
Yes, which, by the way, maggots, congratulations. You got your forever war for oil, stupid war. Just picking. And by the way, I'm sure, you know what? I take it back. The attack on Venezuela, it'll all even out in about 18 months, like he said. It's going to be great.
Venezuela, Kimberly Ducart, thank you. It is good to have you with us. And let's bring in our panel to weigh in. Pleased to have Christina Bobb, attorney at Judicial Watch, former Trump attorney, and author of the brand new book, a bestseller already, Defiant, Inside the Mar-a-Lago.
Based on what?
Raid and the left's ongoing lawfare.
Of her books, this is the bestseller with 2 copies.
Also, Ryan Macbeth, open source intelligence analyst. We are talking...
And patch hoarder.
About a lot of the big moving parts when it comes to Venezuela, but I do want to touch on Congressman Don Bacon, who just had that X post, Christina. Does President Trump and Stephen Miller think that Greenland is something that they can go in and seize, or do you think this is sort of a bit of a nudging and a troll? Obviously, Venezuela is very different. Illegitimate president, more than 50 countries, including the EU, said Maduro was not this, and he had been indicted since 2020. What do you tell our audience, though, about Greenland? It seems to keep coming up.
Right. The thing about Greenland, the thing about President Trump, actually, and this comes from my personally watching him when I worked for him, he is an expert negotiator. And the thing
No, he's not.
that he knows about negotiations is it's not the actual when you're sitting down at the table. It's all the prep work. It's everything that you do beforehand to create the type of circumstances so that when you want to do something, whether it's Greenland or something else, we don't exactly know what card he's trying to play. But I 100% believe
If a card exists at all.
that this is Donald Trump
Hi, Bob.
priming the circumstances to create an advantageous set of circumstances for whatever it is that he's trying to do, whether it is something related to Greenland or otherwise. This is all him prepping the space.
All right, well.
Prepping the space for something we don't know. The Lord, He works in mysterious ways.
It could be maybe some type of, shared treaty, Ryan. I don't know, but it's got a lot of people and it's his.
Why? How would that get you closer to a shared treaty? Threats of invasion? We already have the ability to put stuff there. If we needed to put a military base there, we could just by asking or renting the fucking place. And it would certainly be easier than killing a bunch of people.
Including on the Hill. But there is a national security angle of all of that. And it's a strategic place. It's got a small population. We've seen, some people wearing MAGA hats over there as well last year when this was first raised.
You're absolutely right. It is a strategic location. The climate is changing, and as the polar ice caps recede, essentially this opens up a northwest passage. And what this would allow for is for increased trade above Canada and essentially a shorter route to different markets. And obtaining Greenland allows us to secure that northwest passage. Now,
for what? I'm sorry, we're going to charge a toll through there? It's either a military strategic location or it's nothing. We're not going to have a fucking, in the middle, a toll booth in the middle of the desert, like in Blazing Saddles.
That could be financially. Ideally, it would be some sort of financial deal. You can give $5 million to every single Greenlander. There's about 30,000 of them. That would cost us about $150 billion to secure the Northwest Passage, and they can vote themselves away from Denmark and into a U.S. territory. So that certainly would be a good idea. I don't know about...
Or they could take the money and still stay with Denmark because you're being engaged in an illegal coercion in our own system. So the money that you gave them would be theirs to make their own decision. And they might just go, thanks for the $5 million. I think I'm going to stay. And Denmark's healthcare is way better.
The whole invasion part. But Greenland is essential to America's national security moving forward as the polar ice caps recede.
Wow. All right. So moving forward, let's...
Yeah, but they're not an enemy or some shit. We're not going to have to convert the people there to be... They're not siding with fucking Russia. Whoops.
Take the oath, the official, now interim president. And some were noting that while she did this in this ceremony, it is ambassadors right after she took the oath from China, Russia, and Iran saying, congratulations here. President Trump meeting with oil companies on Thursday. Where that goes is fascinating as well, because he put up the blockade. We can put up all the military assets. This has been building. Maduro had an option not to keep dancing, but perhaps take a pardon like the president of Honduras did, Christina. He didn't opt that way. So now...
What opt? What the fuck are you talking? We arrested the president of Honduras. Trump freed him.
Now oil will...
He actually was shipping drugs to the United States. Whereas Maduro, largely his coke, which is what most of it is, was from Colombia and went to Europe.
I guess the next sort of...
Maduro shit was actually involved in more terror. He's like a subsidiary of Iran is the big problem with him. But for some reason, Trump's leaving that out of the conversation, which seems like even more sketchy.
Stage in the rebuilding of Venezuela.
Yeah, and I think that the way that the Trump administration and the military executed this seizing of Maduro and his wife, I can only imagine that it has put at least a level of respect, if not outright fear, into the minds of these other leaders, taking this very, very seriously, that they could be next.
Yeah, and they would fortify against it and would not be caught off guard. There's no way you could shock them into doing it for at least another, 3 years. They're probably harder. They've literally built up their security permanently until Trump's out of office, at the very least.
I'm not saying that that's what they're projecting, but there's wanted posters and rewards for several of these people. So they have to take very seriously what they're going to do with this. And of course, it is up to Venezuela how they handle it. But I would.
No, it isn't. Who? Who in Venezuela? How is it up to Venezuela? Trump says we're going to be running the goddamn place for 18 months until the oil companies come in and then run everything. What the fuck? This is everything everyone on their side pretended to hate about the Iraq war, but just straight out, this is crony imperialism. That's all this is. And the idea that somehow Democrats are supposed to get excited because Maduro's an asshole and he's a criminal and he deserves to go to jail. Well, so did the fucking president of Honduras. Where's he? Trump just pardoned him. So what's this selective morality of the Trump administration? It's almost like Maduro just didn't pay the bribe on time.
I would bet that they are really trying to figure out how they can accommodate Donald Trump in their own kind of self-serving way. But I think they absolutely are trying to accommodate Donald Trump.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, dum-dum. No. By the way, is this the, hey, CSL, is the Patel thing on Fox, is that the one where his camera went to shit? Apparently. Oh, Trump just posted. Jesus Christ. Okay, this is fun. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta move this down here. Why is this? There we go. Show you this business. Trump just posted this. Thanks, Andrea, for putting this in there. I am pleased to announce that the interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over 30 to 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil. By the way, Trump was calling this shit tar forever, and it is really thick, viscous stuff that can only be processed in the United States, and that's why there are all these... And those same refineries can't do the other stuff, the sweet crude or whatever, the lighter stuff. They can only do this harder stuff, so they've been choked off. Their business has been choked off in this time. So, to the United States of America, this oil will be sold at its market price, and that money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. I've asked Energy Secretary Chris Wright to execute this plan immediately. It will be taken by storage ships and brought directly to unloading docks in the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Good God. Ugh. We'll see. This is Patel talking about this. Now, why this is Patel, I don't know, other than I guess he was in charge of, that would be alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives. The charges against Maduro.
Ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife arriving at a...
And his wife. I gotta say, that sounds really weird. I guess she's sort of a part of it. They're like the ruling elites of their country.
Manhattan federal courthouse to be arraigned on narco-terrorism and weapons charges.
So this comes after the FBI partnered with the Department of Justice, State Department, and the Department of War, DEA, to take Maduro into custody.
Yep, FBI also
had
a major role. And joining us now is the director of the FBI, Kash Patel. Mr. Director, thanks so much.
It must be great to not be talking about the Epstein files or having to try to find a woman's medium jacket to wear.
I want to get into the departure of Dan Bongino, who seemed to have done a fantastic job.
Based on what? No, I take it back. You're right. He did do a fantastic job leaving. Yeah.
And his last day is today. But I want to talk about the FBI's role in especially transporting the leader of Venezuela.
Uh-oh. Hey. Hold on. Wait.
But I want to talk about the FBI's role in especially...
The light just went out.
Transporting the leader of Venezuela.
Hey, it's great.
Guys, you cannot be adjusting his light. That's the person. Can you hear that?
To be with you this morning, and thanks so much. Yes, the FBI's Critical Incident Response Group, CIRG, runs our tactical, aviation, and specialized operation units to include our hostage rescue team. And
Your hostage rescue?
This mission, orchestrated by President Trump, his courageous, decisive decision to lead us through this with the Department of War and our intelligence community, saw mission success because every component of this operation, every link in this chain, was flawlessly executed by the...
Especially the part where it was a country we're not at war with, and like it's the ultimate punching down.
Experts in the intelligence community and law enforcement and military sectors, and we were proud to be a part of
This just like, this reminds me of like Reagan with Noriega and Grenada like fused into one thing, you know? Like as one act. Like, we're gonna raid the beach. There's some co-eds down there who need, you know, fanning with palm fronds.
it. Our hostage rescue team operated as our specialized tactical unit. They embedded with the insertion force along with the force at sea to extract and execute this daring raid and capture operation, a law enforcement operation quarterbacked by at home with our Department of Justice partners. And
you mean back at home?
We, excuse me, at the FBI.
No, you're not excused.
Are in charge of what we call an FTOC, a foreign transfer of custody.
He just like twists his nipples, you know, using all these like acronyms, like FUBAR.
In order to maintain law enforcement custody of the individual from the ground raid seizure through the maritime.
It's pronounced, by the way, FTOC, not to be confused with FTANG, as in eki patang zip boing brow zim zam ni shh.
Transportation and aviation transportation, FBI hostage rescue team agents and medics and specialized aviation units.
Have you said aviation yet? You should say, throw in the word aviation so we know that they didn't paddle back.
Are running that portion of the operation with.
Oh, I see. The pilots and the people flying the planes are running the part with the airplanes, just like the people with the boats are doing the boating with the boats. No shit.
Our law enforcement partners and our intelligence community partners and our DOW partners. So this is what it looks like when you have a great leadership at the White House under President Trump. This is what it looks like when you have decisive action to take out and eliminate and arrest and bring to justice
or to a soccer field
individuals who are pouring narcotics into the streets of America.
Or mostly Europe, but...
And causing deaths to tens of thousands of Americans.
Yeah, it seems like he was more about the oil part.
Mr. Director, you're right. The HRT team, the hostage rescue team for the FBI is some of the best.
Oh, I thought it was the hormone replacement therapy. I figured most of you guys are on it.
The business at this, and they train with our special forces. I want you to put on your former prosecutor hat because you know these charges. And I'm not asking you to prosecute for our audience, but explain to us the charges and how long are we talking about before Maduro sees the other side.
Cut the feed. He doesn't know.
Of justice.
Just want to be very careful here. Department of Justice and our DEA partners are going to be running point on these prosecution charges for narco-terrorism. But generally speaking, it's what I alluded to earlier. It is a large and continuous volume of illicit narcotics to include.
Yeah, we get there's big, scary drugs. Drugs, so much drugs, it's scary, I think, is the whole narco-terrorism kind of, when you link those two things together, because, you know, if it's just a little drugs, it's not that, you know, it's scary. It's like a party, I guess.
Cocaine and fentanyl and meth and everything else.
No, not everything else. The fentanyl doesn't come from fucking Venezuela, shithead.
We see harm our children and it poured into our communities. And thanks to President Trump's decisive leadership, we've seen a drastic reduction in not just deaths, but quantity of narcotics available on our streets.
No, you haven't. This has not slowed the availability of fentanyl anywhere.
Venezuela acted not only as a large...
And God knows what the fucking... Who the fuck still does coke? What is this? Look, I love everything from the 80s except that. Because I blame it for the clothing, by and large. The big shoulder pads and stuff. Because, I don't know if you know this, but pot comes from a reggae part of the universe. It's actually a symbiotic alien that comes here, and then when you smoke it, it takes over your soul, and it changes your taste in music and makes you want to have dreadlocks. And cocaine comes from a totally different part of the galaxy, and when it, invades the planet, it takes over, and uses humans as a host, and then they get big pointy shoulder blades, often asymmetrical jackets and glasses, often, streamlined androgynous makeup. It's big on their planet. It's just weird here. Yeah, meth is from the South. So.
Air and by sea, but also allow drug traffickers to operate with reckless
Yes, on Planet Cocaine, they all wear parachute pants. That is absolutely right.
abandon inside their borders, and their direct target of deployment was the United States of America in large part. And that's what these charges, in my opinion, I believe will address.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Daily Da Vinci. Thank you.
thankfully that these individuals are now behind bars to face the justice system. And for me, quite frankly, it doesn't matter how long or how short the process is, as long as we get it right, and we're off to a great start, thanks to the decisive leadership this weekend of President Trump and his national security team.
Yeah, as long as he's in custody, I don't think people just want to.
Well, I mean, it could go the same way as the president of Honduras. You could have him in custody. You could try him. You could sentence him to 45 years, and then Trump could just let him out with a wink, wink, let me run my own kind of crypto money laundering thing through your country. What do you think about that? Or is doing this as a favor for like Iran or Russia generally?
Normal. There's been a lot of talk about what happens to the bad actors that are still in Venezuela. I know there have been some indictments, including Maduro's son, the foreign minister of Popular Power for Interior Justice and Peace of Venezuela, the interior minister. We've heard a lot about him.
What about the People's Front of Judea?
And the alleged leader of Tren de Aragua.
Splitters.
That cartel. Will they ever be placed in custody? How do you make sure we get this country back to the way it used to be when we were all children, when you have these bad actors there?
Well, thankfully, we have President Trump, we've got Secretary of State Rubio, and great leaders at the White House who will engage in those diplomatic negotiations and work with our partners in the region as they have been doing. And look,
What? Sorry. We're basically in open conflict with all of the countries around Venezuela, with the exception of maybe Chile, because they just don't have anything worth going after them for.
President Trump gave these individuals the opportunity to exercise their own process in partnership with us, and they refused. And you raise a great point. Tren de Aragua, this is a terrorist organization that President Trump rightfully designated as such when he got back into office. And we remember what they were doing to our communities in places like Colorado and elsewhere. They were
Yeah, fucking one video of 3 guys at one door of their own buddy. What are you talking about? Like this idea that they were taking over the streets of Denver. Fuck is wrong with you? No. Tren de Aragua is a pissant group of assholes in the United States. They like, we have our own problems. We've got Bloods. We've got Crips. We've got fucking, like, what are they called? The Peckerwoods. The cracker gangs in jail. Those are the people in the United States that we have to worry about.
Terrorizing American citizens, where they're pouring drugs into our street. And we at the FBI are going to lead out on the law enforcement mission to find out and manhunt anyone responsible or part of this this narcotics mission that Tren de Aragua and this mission of violence that they are on. And so we're proud to continue that effort. We're not done. We are not going to just stop because of this monumental victory. We've got more work to do behind it, and the FBI is going to continue leading that charge, and our hostage rescue team and our special forces operators are going to continue these.
Sorry, but the only person who would even remotely qualify as a hostage in this situation is Maduro's wife. Like, I understand there's been a warrant out for his arrest, but like you don't just get to scoop up anybody in the localized family, right? Are you gonna send her back? What the fuck?
8 mission sets that are being greenlighted by President Trump, rightfully so, because we have been put in a position over the last 4 years prior to the Trump presidency of an explosion in not just narcotics but terrorism activity, and the FBI is going to lead.
No, we haven't. You reclassified everything that drug gangs do as terrorism. You're going to have a spike in terrorism because now everything in that counts. It's like when they started like mass shootings used to be somebody going postal, somebody shooting up a school, or somebody shooting up their old place of work, right? But it didn't include bank robberies. It didn't include drive-by gang shootings and beef fights and all that kind of shit. And then they went, you know what? It's a mass shooting is anything where over 3 people are shot, including the perpetrator. And so suddenly America's number of mass shootings went through the fucking roof. But your circumstance of avoiding one didn't change at all. There weren't more to like watch out for. It was just everything counted. So the number went up. Same thing with terrorism. If you count every drug sale as a terrorist act because they're using that money to pay for terrorism, to finance terrorism, then yeah, terrorism's what the fuck? This is so stupid.
Law enforcement effort here in America with partners at the Department of Justice.
Cash, correct me, Mr. Director, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you meet with Chinese officials about stopping the precursors to fentanyl? And what has happened since that meeting? The president push with tariffs to stop it. What could you tell us happened with the flow into Mexico, where they refine it and send it to us?
That's
fuck all.
Just it. There was nobody, no other administration was willing to engage with our counterparts on things like fentanyl, which were.
What are you talking about? Like, Trump had to do it during his first term. That's when it started to spike. Biden did it during his term. Of course they engage. What are you talking about?
Almost 100,000 Americans per year. And President Trump laid the groundwork for us to go over there and engage directly and say, hey, you got to shut off the flow of the chemical precursors, the ingredients that they utilize to make fentanyl. And we went over there and we got that agreement while we were there, thanks to President Trump's leadership. And we were able to literally shut off the flow of all 13 precursors and 8 chemical adjuster agents. And what that does is it's.
No, it didn't. Like, you didn't. Of course you didn't. It's still coming over here. What do you mean you shut it off? So we're done. So there's no fentanyl. The precursors aren't made anywhere else. Are the Indians now doing it?
Suffocates the drug trafficking organization's ability in Mexico and South America and Central America and elsewhere to create and manufacture the fentanyl. And just look at what we did this past year under President Trump's leadership. We seized enough fentanyl to kill 175 million American citizens.
I hope you got rid of it.
That is an increase in fentanyl seizures by over 30%.
Right, but that's because it ticked up.
That is what a coalition, a team-led effort by a decisive white...
Again, everything you capture, you have no idea how much you missed. So you can't even claim you're making a dent until you see it reflected on the streets, and you don't.
And President Trump looks like to counter narcotics, not just these great successful operations like what we saw this past weekend in Venezuela, but a continuing onslaught of law enforcement activity.
Is it me, or do his eyes start to move closer together the longer he talks? Like if he just keeps speaking, they start just doing this over time, and then he resets.
To safeguard the American public, and we're not going to stop.
Well, Mr. Director, thank you for everything that you did, the administration did, all of the organizations under DOJ, and of course our...
You mean watched it on television? You mean that part? The part they did?
Military. It was incredible, just extraordinary.
Thank you, guys.
Right. And a salute to Dan Bongino, right?
Yes,
Did a great job.
yes. Wish him all the best.
Yep.
Whoops.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, they cut that part. So he waited for... He did a great job? Well, I guess not. Maybe not. No, actually, he was a fuck up, and maggots all over the place are pissed at him because he's not copping to how weak a job he did. I want to grab something because it made me feel good. Occasionally I got to tell you, kids, today was a challenging day. That's all I'm going to say on a personal note. But everything's going to be all right. And I'm not just saying that because I want to say that, but it truly is. But there is, where is she? Hold on. I want to say it was our dear friend on MSNBC. Where is she? I'm gonna have to scroll back and find all this because there was so much stuff happening at once. Stephanie Rule covered a bunch of this. Where is it? It's going to be hard for me to find using the just the thumbnail. Annoying. By the way, hit the like while I'm looking this up. Share the show, etc., etc., etc. Maybe it was earlier than I thought. It might have been. I might be backing off of this too early. I think that might be the case. This is, where is she? Come on, Stephanie Rule. That's Fox News. There's Maduro. It was, anyways, the video is about, let's see. Oil, Venezuela. Is this her? Okay, that's CBS News. Hold on. Stephanie Rule had some guests on talking about the oil, like the use of the oil or going after it. Oh, yes. Rule rips Trump's plan for protector. Oh, yes. Thank you, CSL. Love it. Here we go. Boink. This was her on the 11th hour. And there's a part of this I just want you guys to hear. Because she has we love us some Stephanie Rule in this house.
President Trump says, and I want you to stop doom scrolling, just really pay attention for a second. He says the United States government could reimburse U.S. oil companies that rebuild Venezuelan infrastructure. The president did not say how much money that could cost, but I'm going to tell you, it's a lot. He believes that the oil industry could get operations, quote, up and running in fewer than 18 months. Oil experts would tell you a decade. So I just want to level set for a moment about exactly what's happening here. Nicolas Maduro is obviously no friend to the United States. But by sending our troops to Venezuela to overthrow him, Trump may have violated international law, sidestepping Congress, and threatened the world order. And while Maduro is locked up here in New York, his regime is still largely in place, and they will be as long as their oil reserves are open to U.S. companies. We do not know whether U.S. oil companies actually want to invest big in Venezuela again. Remember, that oil is not American oil. It is Venezuela's. Many years ago, U.S. oil companies made a bunch of very risky investments in Venezuela, and they got burned badly by Maduro's predecessor, who basically kicked him out. That history is still fresh in executives' minds. It is why Trump is dangling the carrot of big reimbursements if they buy into his plan.
Right, because if they do this, the same thing could happen in fucking 8 years.
But for fact's sake, as I said, it could take a decade and billions of dollars for U.S. oil companies.
Somewhere like $112 billion in U.S. investment.
To rebuild infrastructure and get that oil pumping on Russian and Chinese oil fields, no less. And Trump don't...
Yep, CatFem knows. CatFem knows why I'm playing this. Because it's just me dunking on everybody.
He's leaving office in less than 3 years. Talk about it. Ron Insana joins us now. He's a veteran financial journalist and publisher of The Message of the Markets on Substack, and Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, Senior Associate Dean for Leadership Studies at the Yale School of Management. He's also the author of the new book, Trump's 10 Commandments, which is available now for pre-order. Okay, first, I want you to talk about, Ron, Trump even floating this idea that he would reimburse companies. It will take a decade to rebuild this infrastructure.
At best, yes.
At best.
And anywhere from $100 billion to $1 trillion to get there. So he said, the president said, that this would come either through some form of revenue, which we could assume would be borne by taxpayers, or some government subsidy, again, borne by taxpayers for an industry that is already subsidized by the federal government and by taxpayers. So there's only one way in which to do this.
Yeah, all carrot, no stick.
To reimburse them. I mean, if they're going to take oil out of the ground and sell it on their own overseas, they would, of course, have their own revenues and profits. He seems to be talking about something entirely different, as if the government were going to profit from this and the companies would get a cut.
Jeffrey, you talk to these oil executives all the time. Trump said he talked to them before, he talked
Here it comes. Right again.
to them after. But the U.S. still has sanctions on Venezuela. The same government in Venezuela is still in place, except Maduro, and the country is politically unstable. Is he really convincing these executives this is a worthwhile landslide investment?
It's the same people that seized private property, that seized U.S. assets, that are the accused drug traffickers, that are the murderers, the oppressors of freedom of expression, all the things that Trump is arguing against. It's the same.
Well, against in Venezuela. Obviously, he's fine with it in fucking Honduras.
Administration is the same regime that's there. So no CEO wants to go back in. And let me tell you, I'm here to correct the record.
Do it.
When President Trump said 6 times that it's not going to cost the United States anything. He's changed a little bit today, but he said on Saturday it's not going to cost us anything. These companies will pay for it themselves. And then he said he talked with them. I talked with the CEOs, the exact CEOs. I won't name their names, but it doesn't take hard to figure out who they are. They told me they never heard from him. They had no advance knowledge, and they have no interest in this. Why would they have no interest in this? Well, part of it is they had won in many international tribunals billions of dollars that they never got paid. Well, they wrote them down. They don't have claim on it anymore. BP, when they wrote down their assets in Russia, they can't go back and claim them now. They're gone. They've already gotten the money for it by the write down. Secondly, there's a huge oil glut.
Last year, chat room, last year, what I say? What did I say? Didn't matter who was president. Whether it was Harris or Trump, didn't matter. Because there was an oil glut coming. And everybody looked at me like I was fucking insane. Including I think even our dear friend Bob Seska was surprised at my prognostication. And he's a very bright dude. Yeah, exactly, CSL. Hold on.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
It's just something. So 2024, in 2024, you're right, because it's technically 2026. But I was saying it all through, and I was continuing to double down whenever he was going, I don't know, I don't think so. I don't know, I don't think so. And this guy isn't even talking about how, like, we're gonna have one.
They've gotten the money for it by the write down. Secondly, there's a huge oil glut. And the oil glut.
Look at the nodding that happens when as soon as he says that.
By the write down. Secondly, there's a huge oil glut. And the oil glut, it's kind of suspicious. Why? If we had more time, we try to figure out why the Saudis had cut production when prices were twice as high as they are now. They cut production.
Put U.S. frackers out of business.
Well, they wanted. I think they wanted to make Joe Biden look bad, and the Biden-Harris campaign to drive up inflation.
Gee, you think?
It didn't work for them, as a matter of fact. What they did was lose market share, and now they're trying to gain it back when prices are half of what they were. So it's not working.
This is what I said! This is what look! God damn. I know. It's very impressive. I keep trying, one way or another, to get people to like understand like the depth of this stuff.
He's a genius, see?
And I put it in pretty easy terms. I don't make it complicated. Overly so, and I show my work, god damn it. And I said during the campaign in 2024 that there was going to be an oil glut. It didn't matter who was president. And it wouldn't matter much because we don't have a monetary, we don't have monetary inflation. We have supply shock. And even oil won't fix that. And the oil glut is already, 3.5 million barrels a day. If this fucking oil comes online, it's going to go down even further. And Trump thinks it's going to solve the cost of everything else. Well, you can't. If you're reshoring all these factories, the labor cost in the United States is an order of magnitude higher than it is in China or India or fucking Vietnam. So the goods made there are going to be more expensive even if you're right next door to the fucking place. So this is a supply shock and labor issue. And then, again, if you're going to bring these, you're going to reshore these factories, but you're going to keep the product price the same, guess what has to go? Labor. You can't have any fucking people in these factories because that's the expensive part. This is so goddamn dumb. And it is... These are... It's not even like the complicated, like the bond market versus the fucking Dow or something. Like the idea that, yes, if you move factories back to the United States, they're all going to be more expensive than the factory making the same shit in China and putting it on a goddamn boat. I just don't fucking get it. I don't understand how, like, other than, I guess they're considering that there'll be a benefit. There'll be a benefit to this on the other side. That they'll you know, that the nutlicks of the world know they're going to make money in crypto and in fucking these, like, I don't know, elite corporate tech bro cities in South America where they pay no taxes and they're technically, you know, they make up their own fucking passport. That's what they think is going to happen. Holy shit. And all the Republicans who used to be against regime change, well, guess what? This is crucial. Trump's real regime change plan could win everything. You don't fucking say.
I said to you yesterday a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
This is about oil, but it's not. Venezuela is not about us and our oil corporations. What this is about is China and starving China of energy.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. That's not even primarily where they get their fucking oil from. Venezuela's not their primary... The only reason they go to Venezuela is because the Russian part has been cut off. If Russia just got out of the fucking war, they'd be allowed to sell oil because half of that money would go to build Ukraine so they could buy it cheap. And there's a fucking pipeline through Kazakhstan. Stupid. Starving it. The reason oil isn't expensive is because China's not using any.
If you starve China...
I'm very aggravated today. You can tell.
Of energy, and especially oil, and we went through all the facts and figures yesterday. If you missed it, just look for it. I think it's trending today on X. Listen to that monologue and you'll understand it. I also said this wasn't about regime change because they left the regime in place. We have more.
Jesus Christ. No.
On that, hopefully I'll be able to get to that later today. Let me clarify because I have a new understanding of things. Now,
right, because he said, we're leaving the regime intact. We're just taking Maduro. And everybody went, what the fuck? Why? If they're just going to keep sending drugs and selling oil to China, why would you think it's just his idea? You think everybody working in the fucking Maduro government is only doing what they're doing because it benefits him and not them?
I want to say up front.
Hold on, wait.
That this is a theory.
So it's going to be even dumber than stuff he thinks is a fact.
I don't have any insider information. I just have this gut that this...
Yes, you do.
...is probably right. And I may be giving the Trump administration too much credit for this.
Oh, shit. We're getting into some 5D chess nonsense, aren't we?
I will tell you, I don't know who his advisors are. I mean, I know who's around him, but this is some of the most brilliant stuff. If I'm right on this, this is some of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. Because as I said yesterday, you know the old phrase, kill two birds with one stone. He's killed, I said yesterday, like 40 birds. I think we're up to about 1,000 birds that I can find. With one stone, Venezuela, he is knocking all of these birds out. And it is putting us into a position of A, regime change, and B, the great arsenal of democracy. Let me explain.
Oh, man.
Start with regime change. He's not changing a regime. He's changing the global regime.
I see. So he's going to leave in place the Epstein cabal and get rid of Maduro, and that's going to knock down everybody.
Who runs the global regime?
The Rothschild Jews, by and large. I hear. Are you asking me or are you asking Candace Owens? I'm gonna, because if you're asking me, I'm gonna go with humanoid lizards wearing human skin suits who drink baby milkshakes. I'm only going with the information that Alex Jones has provided me.
There's two things. One, China, Russia, Iran, they're running what I would call the Axis powers, okay?
Jesus Christ. They can't even run their own government. It's like trying to pull start a fucking lawnmower.
You have to start thinking, as I told you last year, we're in World War III. You just don't know it yet. We're in a Cold War. Hope to God it never becomes a hot war. But
gee, check with Maduro. Check with Iran. Check with Syria.
What Donald Trump is building is
never mind Russia, Ukraine.
This arsenal so it doesn't go into a hot war. FDR waited too long. At the pace that Donald Trump is running,
oh my God. All right, who's the Hitler in this situation? Because if you're going to say it's anybody but Russia or China, and in which case, why is Trump always saying he's fucking friends with them? Unless he's just like, yeah, you're my buddy. And he's just like basically like stuffing guns in all of his clothing so that the next time he runs into him, he can, hey, can I talk to you over here? And he's going to snuff both of them. Is that your theory?
Not be too late. But what is the regime?
I'm going to guess Trump, the Saudis, and like Swiss and Cyprian bankers.
One, China. There are only three choices of where this all ends, okay? Because everybody's economy is falling apart. The whole system is falling apart. It doesn't work anymore. Okay. One, China, Russia, Iran. Two, the WEF. The WEF is the Great Reset. That is
gee, I now you got me rooting for Iran. I don't know how this works.
Global government run by oligarchs and businesses and banks.
Or a group of people who meet because they have shared interests for each of the countries they represent and the central banks to try and balance shit out in a crazy, chaotic world.
The ones that are doing it, WEF, read my book, The Great Reset.
Yeah, which never happened and never will and never was going to, even though you said it was inevitable and it already happened and was going to happen and was presently happening.
And all of the oligarchs and the banking system, who's the big foe of the United States right now in Europe. It's certainly not, France. It's Christine Lagarde, the central banker of Europe.
Why?
European Central Bank. She's the one that is coordinating all of the currencies, everything that's going on.
Yeah, because she has to. It's her fucking job.
To bring them into this fascistic WEF world.
No, she's not. They're already, the European Union already has a currency. She's got to manage. Oh, God.
Okay.
No, not okay. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
So those are your two choices. Donald Trump.
Yes. I'm going to go with, Trump is friendly with both, so.
Trump has come up with another choice, and that is America First, which is bucking the entire system.
How is attacking Venezuela and seizing their oil America First?
It's saying we're not going to go with the WEF. We're not going to be run by corporations and a bunch of faceless people and all these oligarchs. No.
That's adorable.
And we're not going to...
Well, not European ones, I guess.
Run like...
Is that the theory?
Like by the Chinese, and we're not going to go that road. We believe in America and the American system.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't involve democracy and 3 co-equal branches of government. And
that's the regime change.
Oh, my God. So he's not guilty of regime change, all that shit we said he would never do, and and he said he would never do, and we're going to stop doing all that shit or whatever. He's actually not doing that, even though that's what he's doing, because what he's really doing is changing the regime of the United States to an America First regime from Jesus Christ.
He's overthrowing what the Western world was doing, the WEF, the Great Reset. We were all,
which never happened and wasn't going to happen,
all in on that. All that global warming, all of that.
Caring about the environment, any natural resources that are limited.
Red tape, he's throwing all of that out. We're not doing any of that.
Yes. Who needs drinking water standards?
We're going here. I believe Donald Trump has given up on Europe.
Too many brown people there now?
It's over. They can go their own way. They're going the wrong direction. They're never going to change. It's over. He has written the Far East off as communist China run. And the Middle East, he's negotiating with everybody.
Yeah, because they like golf and sex with minors. What about Japan and South Korea and fucking Vietnam and all the other countries that aren't run by China right now that we're trading with, or fucking India?
He's negotiating in some places where I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like what you're doing. Why are you negotiating with these people at the table?
Because they were all friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and so they have that. It's a shared life experience.
Because he's trying to build the arsenal of the West. He's taking our foes and trying to make them as much of allies, kind of like what we did with Stalin. Bring them in enough so they don't fall on the other side. Okay?
Why? What the fuck? We don't need even Middle Eastern oil at this point.
Now, let me tell you how I got here.
Because you have to? Because when you did your Operation fucking Dumbo Drop during Afghanistan, you just flew to the UAE and ate fucking room service and pretended you were behind enemy lines? And you want to do that again? And you're also a tradcon faux Christian dickhead who believes in, the sanctity of Jerusalem and Bethlehem over every other stitch of land in the Middle East?
Marco Rubio said the other day,
oh dear,
we're going after the cartels and the oligarchs. And how I heard that was, we're going after the cartels. And I didn't even pay attention to the second half of that sentence. I paid attention to the cartels. Okay? If I'm a cartel, and this is the way our American president and the whole global system has always played this. Let's just start. What is a cartel?
That's good. Yes. Okay. I think it's when you can tell what model and make a vehicle is by just seeing its headlights.
How does a cartel work? You have a mob boss, if you will, and they are going to sell something that is illegal.
Oh, so a cartel's kind of like a mob. All right.
Illegal, be that people or drugs. They're going to do illegal.
Or weapons. I mean, obviously you think that's a good thing, so I understand why you didn't mention it.
Things. So what does the cartel boss need? The cartel boss needs
fancy silk suits, big rings, and some dude that will cut his finger off.
Mules to move product, needs enforcers to keep people in line.
Oh, dear God. And basically, cartels are like banks. They're exactly the same.
And they need the workers, the chemists, and everybody else to act.
Yeah, like every other corporate structure that produces a product has a hierarchical system that involves the leadership, the governing board, and management, and then the workers.
procure and make the product, right?
Yeah, I didn't even listen to the second part of the sentence. Is exactly, I mean, it's Glenn Beck's whole fucking life, CSL.
Where you start. To keep that going, however, as you grow, you also need the cops, the judges, and the politicians. You got to have them in your pocket. Otherwise, they'll shut you down.
Oh, so that's what Trump is doing. I got you. Okay.
If you have those things.
So Trump's trying to have the cops and the judges in his pocket so that he can keep committing crimes. Yeah, it makes sense.
This is where all presidents and everybody else stops. Where are we doing? We're going into Venezuela. We're going to get the kingpin of the cartel. We're going to go in and we're going to get Maduro. He's the kingpin of the cartel. True. Absolutely true. And we're going to send a message to the other politicians and the judges and the cops and the other cartels. We're watching you. But what happens?
I don't know. There's no message, no follow-up, and so they don't listen, and the next person moves in, head of the snake, something, head of Hydra, cut off one head, two will take its place.
Once America stops watching it, it just grows again, right?
Yeah, because it's natural to those people. Well spotted, Glenn Beck.
Over and over again. We've been talking about this system forever.
Gee, it's almost as if if the desire for drugs in the United States wasn't so strong, maybe they'd make something else. Whoops.
Cartel. What is a cartel? Because there's one part we never, ever talk about.
The valets? No. The guys who... They're social media managers.
We never talk about it. What is the other thing a cartel must have?
Guns. Got lots of guns.
Be successful.
Customers. The American people who do drugs.
The banks.
Oh, see, I was gonna go with. I was gonna say like mattresses. They could have just said mattresses. You put a place to put your money. But sure, why not? Why not banks? Just okay. Kind of like the Jan Sixers and those asshole truckers in Canada.
They must have the banks.
And a lot of our weapons.
Remember, they have the politician. Let's think of this as Epstein. Epstein, in his last couple of years, moved $13 billion. Somebody check on that. $13 billion. He moved it. There were like 70 what are called yellow tickets. Whenever the banks spot.
Where'd it go? What country? What country that's really good friends with Donald Trump?
Money being moved into offshore accounts, et cetera, and they're like, something illegal is going on here. It automatically generates a yellow ticket. Okay? You move $10,000 out of your bank and you do it every Friday, a yellow ticket is going to come up with the bank, and it will go right to the Treasury. And the Treasury then says, officers, go look into this. Something funny's going on. Well, he had like 70 yellow tickets. You can't move that much money into offshore accounts without the bank knowing. The bank did know.
Yeah, we know. Trump and they both used Deutsche Bank because it was Russian fucking money. All their loans were back, and they were paying off money that wasn't technically theirs, so they were moving it through trusts. So it wasn't like the fucking yellow tag had his goddamn name on it, stupid.
The Treasury knew, but for some reason, neither the bank nor the Treasury did anything about those yellow tickets.
Because they were technically legal.
So is the problem...
No, stop. That's the problem. There was nothing illegal about him moving that money around. Maybe how he obtained it. Maybe that was sketchy as fuck. But transferring it or giving it to somebody, especially on a corporate level in the billions of dollars when they move that around, nobody gives a shit. You get an automatic one if you do $10,000. You get one if you get $1 billion. If the bank goes, what's this for? And we have an accountant. He's buying real estate for us. Okay, fine. That's how much scrutiny it gets. The money's gone, dum-dum.
Just Epstein is the problem. If Epstein were in jail today, he's dead, but let's say he's in
All right, just because you say he's dead makes me think he's alive.
jail today, and what's-her-face is in jail today. Did we get the bad guys? No.
No, one of them's the fucking president.
No. We got some of the bad guys,
Who?
but we didn't get the bad guys that made it all possible.
What? Who? What? What are you talking about? Him and her? She's Trump moved her to like Club Fed.
We didn't go after the bank. We didn't go after the Treasury. What?
For what? Stupid?
What the hell happened here?
I'll tell you what happened here. The money was made through, by and large, legal means, however fucking sketchy it was. And he's able to move it around because what he was moving it for wasn't illegal. He wasn't buying drugs. He wasn't buying guns. He was just transferring it. So fucking what? What are you talking about?
Nobody wants to look into that. Let me tie this back now
Jesus Christ. Get it over with.
to the cartels and to we're going after the cartels and the oligarchs.
Ugh.
Maybe I'm giving them too much credit,
I think I'm giving you too much credit.
but I hope this is true. I know this is real.
Oh, fuck, it's an ad.
When I look at oligarchs, and this is the part I hope is true. So who are the oligarchs?
Trump, Nutlick, Jared Kushner, all like his Saudi buddies, bunch of anybody with a fucking gold Visa Trump card.
Who are the people that actually run the world?
It's either China, Russia, and Iran, or it's the World Economic Forum. Or maybe it's going to be America that runs it. America first, all right.
The billionaires. The
What? No. At this point, it's the 100 billionaires.
Oligarchy is a system run by the few. Who are the few? The powerful. How do you become powerful? Money.
Wow. You worked all afternoon on this, did you?
Lots and lots of money. Oligarchs, we always look at Russian oligarchs. They're billionaires, right?
No, they're not just billionaires, you dumb motherfucker. They run the gas company. They're billionaires that control the military spending. They're the people who run they're military contractors, oil contractors, people who run the food in Russia, and they're billionaires who run that, and then they are directly controlled by Vladimir Putin. They're not just, there's no fucking toy billionaire in Russia that's part of the oligarchy. Stupid. The oligarchy are the people who are billionaires who control or are financially responsible for sectors of the economy that are usually the purview of the government.
Well, the billionaires, they have to have the banks. And
oh, God. What are you going to do? Put in your shoe?
many times those billionaires are in league with the banks. And when you look at the WEF, all of those giant corporations, they're being told what to do by the banks.
No, they're not. The corporations are the ones that actually make stuff and hire people and all that kind of stuff. It's the other way around. The banks are always wrestling with them, stupid.
That's the whole Great Reset. The bank will tell you what to do.
Oh, God. This hurts. This is fucking... Yeah, the banks are telling Jeff Bezos what to do. The banks are telling Elon Musk what to do with Tesla. The banks are telling Mark Cuban what to do with his fucking, healthcare side project and all of his other stuff. The fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so you have the banks. And when I talk bank, I'm talking about the international banks. I'm talking about the central banks. I told you, biggest foe of Trump and freedom is the central bank of,
Oh my God, this is fucking recycled Rand Paul or Ron Paul horseshit.
of Europe. One of the biggest foes for our economy, according to Donald Trump, is the Fed.
That's because he's a moron and he wants to crash the dollar.
And the Fed controls everything. They're the banking system. They're the ones that keep getting the bailouts. They're the ones that are moving all of the money for the Somalians. Nobody.
No, they're not. No, they aren't. Those literally go through the government.
The bank wanted to question how millions of dollars were leaving the banks in Minnesota to be transferred over to Somalia. There was no yellow ticket nothing, really? Because if I were sending millions of dollars over to Somalia, I would imagine my bank would call and go, hey, can I ask you what's going on with you in Somalia? There's nothing? Nothing.
Well, they have a branch there.
Wow, that's really hard to believe. And if that is what happened, their banks had no idea. Well, then we have to really think about our banks.
Gee, it's almost like you should put back on all the guideposts that Democrats put on that Trump took down. Weren't you guys like just patting yourself on the ass again about a deregulation?
Okay. The Fed is Donald Trump's one of his biggest foes, at least on the economy. Where most likely is the money for the cartels? The cartels' money most likely is in the Cayman Islands. Okay, offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands is all secret. But who set that up? That's the London banking system.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Because it couldn't possibly be the Bank of Cyprus and the fucking Levant because what's his ass, who was Trump's Treasury Secretary last time, worked there, ran the place.
Who was the head? This is where my head goes, and I'm sorry, this could all just be
it's horseshit.
Crazy dots put together. But who used to be the head of the Central Bank of London? Who ran that? I'll give you a hint. He's now the Premier of Canada. He's the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah, who Trump likes.
Carney. He was never a politician. He was the head of the Central Bank of London. And then he moves over to Canada and he becomes the Prime Minister of Canada? Hey. I'm not sure if that has
Jesus Christ, this is dumb.
anything to do with anything, but
It doesn't. I don't understand how Glenn Beck thinks what he's saying has anything to do with English. My fucking God. Let's cut to, if we could, this is Donald Trump talking on a plane. I apologize for the audio if it's a little funky, as airplane audio sometimes is. And you are right, he looks like hammered shit. He has been looking like hammered shit for a while. I'll show you more of that in a minute.
People with Senator Lindsey Graham.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, by the way, maggots love that Lindsey Graham is there. Hey, and especially Tulsi Gabbard and her crowd.
Lord Ludnick, Commerce. We have Steve Miller. We have a lot of people. We have Aaron. We have a lot of people. Go ahead.
Hi, Mr. President. Have you spoken with any of the U.S. service members who were injured during that operation?
No, he has not.
Yes, we have calls into them.
Yes, we have calls into them. They're not picking up somehow.
They're all in good shape.
Can you detail what watching that was like when all of this played out in Venezuela and what Maduro was doing that moment?
Well, I was very heroic. I was very powerful. I had almost half a chub. I was very excited about the whole thing. It was like watching someone play Splinter Cell very, very, very well.
Possible danger. I mean, it was a very dangerous operation. It was amazing that we had a few injured, but all are in good shape right now. But I knew there was great danger. You got off a helicopter. The helicopters were being shot at.
Gee, I wonder why. It's almost like they crossed into a sovereign country and with the goal of abducting the leadership.
They got on the ground. They were amazing.
And shooting people who got in their way while they abducted leadership.
I amazing talent and tremendous patriotism, bravery. The bravery.
Sorry, they were running around with they had American flags that they were running behind them.
Was incredible, Lindsay. They got off the helicopter and the bullets were flying all over the place. As you know, one of the helicopters got hit pretty badly, but we got everything back. Got everything back and nobody killed.
The next question is who's in charge of Venezuela right now? Have you spoken to the newly sworn in president there, Rodriguez? And
No, I've got to call into her. She won't pick up either. I don't know. I think she's been talking to the soldiers that got
what are your
shot.
thoughts on the entire situation when you said the U.S. would run Venezuela?
We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
We're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
No, I haven't. But
Also, what the fuck does "we're in charge" mean? We're running the fucking government there? I mean, that part, we talked about this a little bit on Saturday on the radio show. But, Maggots, you do know this part is nuts, right?
other people.
Do you want to?
Yeah, at the right time, I will.
Did the U.S. give Delcy Rodriguez any guarantees in exchange for cooperating
No,
with your
no,
administration?
but she's cooperating.
Are you going to demand free and fair elections in the short term in Venezuela?
Well, it depends. You know, what you're talking. We have to do one thing in Venezuela.
Me too, CSL. Love that game.
Bring it back. It's a dead country right now. It's a country that, frankly, we would have been, if I had lost the election, we would have been a dead country.
When in doubt, fall back on what could have been if it, and by the way, he said the exact same thing when Biden took over. And he's like, this is our last election if Biden wins. And then we had like record low unemployment and wage growth. And we passed an infrastructure bill. And
Venezuela would have been Venezuela on steroids. Venezuela right now is a dead country. We have to bring it back. And we're going to have big investments by the oil companies to bring back the infrastructure. And the oil companies are ready to go.
No, they're not.
They go in, they're going to rebuild the infrastructure.
No, they're not.
We built it to start off with many years
No, we did not.
ago.
Who the fuck is we?
Took it away. You can't.
He thinks the oil fields in Venezuela are exactly like the Panama Canal.
Do that. And you can't do that with me. They did it with other presidents.
How soon do you think an election can take place in Venezuela? How soon can an election take place?
Well, I think we're looking more at getting it fixed, getting it ready first, because it's a mess. The country is a mess. It's been horribly run. The oil is just flowing at a very low level, much lower than, even if it was badly run, it should have more income, more oil than what they're doing. So we're going to have the big oil companies go in, and they're going to fix the infrastructure, and they're going to invest money. We're not going to invest anything. We're going to just take care of the country. We're going to cherish the country. We're going to take care.
Cherish it?
More importantly, of the people, including Venezuela.
We're going to give all the Venezuelans massages. They've been through a lot.
That are living in our.
We're going to give them free health care. We're going to set them all up in apartment buildings. Move them all back from Colorado.
That were forced to leave their country. And they're going to be taken very good care of. Yes, ma'am.
Spoken with the oil companies about
Yes.
going into Venezuela?
I have.
Which ones? Have you received any commitments?
All of them, basically.
Any commitments from the oil companies?
They want to go in so badly.
Did you speak with them before the operation took place?
Yes.
Did you maybe tip them off about
Yeah, it's exactly like the wall, Bruce. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to go into, the oil companies are going to go into Venezuela, and Mexico is going to pay for it 100%.
Before and after. And they want to go in, and they're going to do a great job for the people of Venezuela. And they're going to represent us well. But the infrastructure is rusty.
Who's us, motherfucker? These are gas companies.
Rotten. Most of it unusable. It's old. It's broken. You see pipes laying all over the ground. Nothing's been invested for years. Chevron's in, as you know, they've done a good job, but even they haven't been in a position to invest money because they're at a month-to-month basis.
What happens to the...
It's a lease with an option to buy.
They're only there because I wanted them to be there.
Yeah, are there any contingencies in case the military in Venezuela is unhappy with the U.S. and the way it's running Venezuela? Do you guys have plans for anything?
So Venezuela thus far has been very nice. but it helps to have a force like we have. You know, we were ready for a second wave. We were all set to go, but we don't think we're going to need it.
There's about 17 billion worth of oil reserves in Venezuela.
Or,
is that going to be?
You mean trillion?
And is that going to be
Did you
something?
say billion or trillion?
I said billion.
You said 17 billion? It's much more than that.
Okay, so what is going to happen to those reserves?
Well, we're going to run everything. We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time.
This sounds just like this is the same shit about Gaza. This is a hostile takeover. That's what this is. This is crony imperialism. Period. He is saying the exact same shit about Gaza. And the idea that we're going to do it, we're going to take it over, we're going to run it, and we're going to give some of it to the people there and keep a bunch of it because they owe us, which is the same thing that he's saying about Gaza. Like the idea that we stopped Israel from killing everybody or some shit is what he's going to use as an excuse for like why we should own a chunk of Gaza forever, or he should be able to build a piece of property and the United States of America should protect his property there forever.
The main thing you have to fix, it's a broken country. There's no money. There's inflation. Like we would have had, if I didn't win this election, we would have been Venezuela on steroids. Lindsay would know that. You might say something on that because we were talking before. We would have had a doubling up of very bad things that cost us a lot of money, like welfare, frankly. We wouldn't have had jobs. And instead of having $18 trillion in, we would have had at least $5 to $10 trillion leaving the country. So our costs would have gone up, and all of the money that's,
I guess if it's, and as unfalsifiable lies go, this is his easy go-to. He could just make it up. If I hadn't been elected, the Yellowstone caldera would have erupted. And the fact that it didn't is proof that God wants me to be president.
It's long broken. And that's it. That's after 10 months. We haven't included the 11th month yet. So we think we're going to hit over $20 trillion.
Since you're making up the number, why not? Just go for it.
The all-time record is 3 by another country known as China.
I don't know where he gets this, that China got $3 trillion of investment in one year at some point, which I don't even know where he gets it. It's like, it's just silly. I think it used to be 3 million for the $3 trillion for the United States, and he just doesn't want to give any other president credit for any money coming in, so he makes it China.
10 years ago, they did 3. We're going to do close to 20 trillion. By the way, there has never been anything like this ever before. And it's all because of tariffs and the election, but it's because of tariffs.
There was a time.
Without tariffs, we wouldn't have 10 cents being invested.
There was a time back in 2016, I remember your RNC speech, and you were saying that regime change and nation building.
Where?
When you were speaking at the RNC back in 2016,
Go ahead,
you were criticizing regime change and nation building, the U.S. being involved in that. It seems obviously that your stance has changed on that. What led to that? And is the U.S. nation building now?
I didn't so much change as I didn't care. I was just using the convenient lie of the time. And there's a new convenient lie.
This isn't a country that's on the other side of the world. This isn't a country like we have to travel 24 hours in an airplane. This is Venezuela. It's in our area. The Don Road Doctrine.
So is that what you would say, that we're in the business of nation building now?
We're in the business of having countries around us that are viable and successful, and where the oil is allowed to freely come out because that's good. It gets the prices down. That's good for our country. Now we have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor, and that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick too.
Yeah, this isn't war. This is medicine. Totally. Yeah. I don't even. Yeah. Thanks for that. That was. I feel like I've grown as a human being. Yeah. I never realized that there was that kind of like. It's not that we didn't set up an armada creating a blockade in international waters. We were just playing doctor. Boy,
run by a sick man. who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that?
Does he really like it, or is it just a good moneymaker? Also, most of the cocaine comes from Colombia.
He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not
Cocaine mills. They're old-fashioned ones. You know, they set them up next to a stream.
going to be doing it very
So there
long.
will be an operation by the U.S. and
It sounds good to me.
Secretary
Yeah.
Rubio mentioned.
You know why?
Cuba
Because they
yesterday.
kill a lot of people. Yeah.
Secretary Rubio mentioned.
So that's our next thing. So expect, in this wag the dog to avoid talking about the now, 10 million Epstein files that they just discovered and still have to release. And this is the wag the dog for that, pure and simple. And so expect us to do some airstrikes inside there and claim we're hitting drug fields and factories and warehouses that are housing drugs.
But yesterday, in his remarks, does the U.S. have a plan to do something?
Well, Cuba always survived because of Venezuela. Now they won't have that money coming in. They won't have the income coming in. You know, a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday. You know that. A lot of Cubans were killed.
Do you know how many?
The bodyguards. No, they're looking. But there was a lot of death on the other side. No death on our side. But there was a lot of death.
So you really aren't big on stopping death in general. It isn't about stopping the killing per se. That you were with Russia and Ukraine. That's been your big reason apparently why you want to give Russia a bunch of land inside a sovereign country that they don't have any right to. It's not because you're trying to help your buddy Putin. It's because you just don't like the killing and all the death. Except maybe there's some new deaths. Maybe these are the kind of deaths that there's an upside. Hold on.
But a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday trying to protect him.
There's been protesters killed in Iran. You said we were locked and loaded, ready to go. What is the line there for when the U.S. is going to get involved in those protests?
We'll take a look. We're watching it very closely.
I've seen it. I know everything. I know more about Iran than the Ayatollahs do. I've been we've been listening to it I know I said we're locked and loaded, ready to go if they shot protesters. But so far they have shot some of them, but they have not shot any of them. So there you go.
If they start killing people like they have in the past.
Yeah, they did that. They did a lot of that.
I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Can I just add something? So when he first got elected in January, we met, biggest comeback ever. We talked about
you think so, really? I didn't feel it was a comeback, actually.
So,
because the first one was.
The bottom line is, we talked about a drug caliphate in our backyard. We had Venezuela, we have Cuba, we have Colombia in our backyard. And these three countries have been condemned ever since I've been in politics. Joe Biden put a $25 billion bounty on Maduro's head. Chris Smith, today he got inaugurated, said, I hope Trump will hold Maduro's feet to the fire. You did. So what has he done? He's going to clear our backyard of a drug caliphate, countries run by narco-terrorist dictators who murder, rape, send drugs into our country.
Yeah, I gotta say, along with the president of Honduras, it isn't so much even arresting the dude and trying him for this kind of stuff. It's the whole, we're running the country now and our oil companies are going to move in and take over. That's kind of the part that people have, because we've had issues with foreign dictators and tin pot assholes that we've had to take out before because they were engaged in terrorism or drugs and that kind of stuff, or they went on vacation and got arrested with a boner someplace and thrown in jail, and Interpol got them, right? That happens. That's not the big deal. That's why you put a bounty on them, because you hope somebody in their own fucking country will do this. But now that the problem, I think, by and large, the majority of people have, myself included, is this idea that Venezuela is now an American territory like Puerto Rico.
Kill thousands of our citizens. To my Democratic friends, You should be celebrating this. When bin Laden went down, I was the first to applaud President Obama. This was one of the most sophisticated military operations in the history of the country. What they were able to do was amazing. They knew we were coming. We had a good part of the Navy, and they were able to capture this man alive. No military in the world could have done it. And as to this commander...
Well, a lot of them, if they wanted to do it, wouldn't have. They'd have just killed the dude and called it a day.
He did something people talked about doing. You just wait.
No. Nobody talked about us becoming like Marco Rubio becoming the fucking de facto governor of the state of Venezuela.
Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship.
All right, this is next. That's what I'm talking about. Like this, I told you, this is the fucking map, kids. This is it. This is the whole thing. Hold on, where is it? This guy right here. There you go. That's the map. There she goes. There's all this area too. It's not just Venezuela and Colombia. It's this area too. Want all of that. And then Central America, and we control the Panama Canal and all this stuff, and we take Greenland. That's what he's talking about. Like, you know, Miss Lindsay's been in on this shit just as much. Now, where is this? There we go.
That's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the...
Yeah, it sounds exactly, and I gotta say, sounds exactly like what you said when Saddam Hussein fell.
world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you...
Yeah, they're thinking, I need a nuke.
By the way, you know, you mentioned something that's interesting. Lindsay mentioned bin Laden. You know, I wrote about bin Laden 1 year before the attack on the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to go after bin Laden. It was in my book. And very few people want to say that, but it was in my book. You know that.
You mean the book you didn't write?
You've actually talked about it. But if they would have listened to me, they would have taken out bin Laden, and you wouldn't have had the World Trade Center tragedy.
Yeah, this is certainly going...
Did you know that? I predicted bin Laden.
I learned something every day.
Sorry, my sound was off. Damn it. My bad. I don't know why that happened. I didn't tap that. Okay. Well, I don't know that. Okay, back to where I was then. Let me show you what it said. So Trump says this part. I wrote a very political book years ago in the year 2000, The America We Deserve. I said in that book that we better be careful with a guy named Osama bin Laden. I mean, I really study this stuff. I really find it very interesting. Even though I'm a businessman, I've always been involved in politics. I said, we better be careful with Osama bin Laden. There's a guy named Osama bin Laden. Nobody really knew who he was, but he was nasty. I mean, obviously, we'd hit him with airstrikes multiple times, so he was known. But he was saying really nasty things about our country and what he wants to do to it. And I wrote in the book in 2000, 2 years before the World Trade Center came down, I talked about Osama bin Laden. You better take him out. And I said, he's going to crawl under a rock. You better take him out. And now people are seeing, Trump predicted Osama bin Laden. And then this was actually what he wrote. Instead of one looming crisis hanging over us, we face a bewildering series of smaller crises, flashpoints, standoffs, and hotspots. We're not playing the chess game to end all chess games anymore. We're playing tournament chess, one master against many rivals. Sorry if I repeated this, but there you go. We're all assured that Iraq, one master against many rivals. One day, we're all assured that Iraq is under control. The UN inspectors have done their work. Everything's fine. Not to worry. The next day, the bombing begins. One day, we're told a shadowy figure with no fixed address named Osama bin Laden is public enemy number one, and U.S. jet fighters lay waste to his camp in Afghanistan. He escapes back under some rock, and a few news cycles later, it's on to a new enemy and a new crisis. He was referencing the hit that Clinton did about the time they were putting the book together, like, maybe 3 months before. Yeah, that's it. And then he goes, in another part of the book, he says the U.S. is in danger of the sort of terrorist attacks that would make the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center look like kids playing with firecrackers. As Trump writes in his book, no sensible analyst rejects this possibility. Everybody was talking about blowback then, especially in regard to CIA stuff. So, this idea, it's horseshit, this part.
No, but did you hear that?
Certainly.
Did you know that? I predicted bin Laden.
I learn something every day.
No, but
Yeah, he didn't. It's nonsense.
Well, I didn't know. I just heard it right now.
No, I wrote a book. It was 1 year before the attack that the book came out, and it talked about, there's a whole page, a whole section dedicated to a guy named bin Laden who's the
Nope, there's a whole sentence.
bad guy who you have to take out.
So, I'll get the book. But right after the election, he told me, I'm going to clean up our backyard.
Nostradamus, yeah.
Now, this was before he took office. This is one of the president's priorities, is to make sure that people in our backyard, narco-terrorist states, will not continue to kill Americans without the number of people that will be alive today because Venezuela will be in different hands is going to be tens of thousands. This is something to be celebrated, whether you like him or not.
Not just Venezuela. It's what's coming out of Venezuela in the form of ocean-going and Gulf-going and sea-going boats. Every time we knock out a boat,
which is very different,
and we've done a lot of them. We did 3 over the last few days. They're very rare now. You don't see too many of them.
Hard to recruit.
But drugs by sea are down 97%. Think of that. And now
it hasn't changed even in the last 3 days.
To stop them by.
So that you didn't get the last 3 boats? It's not 100%.
Land too. The land is easy. We had to do the sea before we did the land because it just works out.
Yeah, you were just talking.
It does. Yeah, you just gotta. Yeah, you really gotta. Because you get all busy on land and then you forget about the ocean.
The land, but it sounded like.
And by the way, you have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're gonna have to do something.
Sea drugs and people in rowboats, just going up the highways full of drugs in Mexico. I hope we have satellites that can see that from space. I want to see that footage.
I love Mexico to do it. They're capable of doing it. But unfortunately, the cartels are very strong in Mexico.
I remember one time you actually, speaking of Mexico, I asked you about Claudia Sheinbaum, and you told me at one point you had offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to combat drug trafficking there. Is that something you
I like Claudia. I think she's a terrific person. I would say every single time I talked to her, I offered to send troops.
And she's just not willing?
She's concerned. She's a little afraid. The cartels are running Mexico. Whether you like it or not, it's not nice to say, but the cartels are running Mexico.
Yeah, speaking of those U.S. troops, I mean,
What the fuck is Lindsey Graham trying to interject?
one thing that Americans and a lot of people are wondering, you just sounded like you weighed out another strike, another land strike at least in Venezuela. You sound like you weighed that out. But
Well, we didn't need it. We were prepared to do a second strike if we needed it. We're totally prepared.
But that's off
We're
the
still
table.
prepared.
That's off the table now.
No, it's not. If they don't behave, we will do a second strike.
Will you demand
The question is,
What are you going to do? Capture the vice president now?
the American troops, are they going to be on the ground? They're doing any kind of peacekeeping? I think Americans are very...
Depends. It depends on what happens. It depends a little bit on the new administration, if you want to call it.
So if you see that pushback from Rodriguez
We're the new administration. You just said we're running it, stupid.
and ultimately...
Well, I don't think there was pushback. I think that...
She
frankly,
called it...
Well, you know, you hear a different person than I hear.
Really? So you have spoken with her?
We talked to them, yeah.
Oh, you did speak.
They've been very good.
Because she called it kidnapping of Maduro.
It's all right. It's not a bad term. Go ahead.
No, are you?
Kidnapping is not a bad term. Hold on one second. Just real quick. One moment, please. Oh yeah. So real quick, the scholarly debate and rabbinic interpretation of the English commandment, where the Hebrew lo tignov, often translated as "thou shalt not steal," is argued by some specifically to mean "thou shalt not kidnap" or steal a person, rather than general theft due to the context of surrounding commandments, murder, adultery, focusing on directing harm to individuals, making kidnapping a capital offense, though most agree it covers all theft. So it's like, do not kidnap a person or their stuff, kind of like don't covet your neighbor's oxen or his ass. Yeah, so the commandments surrounding steal, murder, and adultery deal with offenses against other people and their bodily person. Suggesting steal would also be a severe interpersonal crime like kidnapping. Kidnapping was a capital offense in ancient law, so it was "thou shalt not kidnap," just for the record. Just saying.
Are you going to demand that Delcy Rodriguez let opposition figures return or free any political prisoners?
We haven't gotten to that yet. Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil, fix up the country, bring the country back, and then have elections.
Yeah, but you'd want to free the political prisoners if they're on your side, right?
No. Is it fair?
We better bring the country back. Otherwise, you're gonna have a mess that's so bad. It was
Yeah, way worse.
really bad. It's going to get a lot worse unless we go in and fix it.
What do you mean go in, motherfucker? That's what she was asking you about, boots on the ground.
Is the U.S. going to reopen its embassy in Caracas or get the DEA?
We're thinking about it. We've been asked to do it.
We've been asked to do it. Please open an embassy here. That was one of the first things they asked for when they were like, where the fuck is our president and his wife? Hold on.
Do you think you had Putin and on the phone, of course, and then Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah.
You told me that
Numerous times.
You told me that your New Year's resolution was peace on earth. Do you think that 2026?
I don't know about goodwill towards men at all. I mean, definitely not women. So
If you could set a deadline of when the Russia-Ukraine
I don't
war...
do deadlines, but I would say that, like as an example, Thailand.
Except for I'll have this settled with one phone call in less than an hour before I'm even sworn in.
Cambodia.
I'll have a healthcare plan in 2 fucking weeks. I don't do deadlines.
I was very proud of that. Wait a minute. And they started up again and they got it solved.
Where does it
I give
actually
myself 1/4 of a point for that. So now I'm and 1/4 points because they started up Thailand and Cambodia, and now it's okay.
So where does it actually stand between Russia?
It's. I think the important thing is fuck Sudan, right?
I think we'll have a deal at some point, hopefully in the not too distant. So I don't know if you saw the numbers just came out. 30,000 soldiers were killed this current month.
And there was that intelligence.
30,000. 27,000 the month before.
You and Senator Graham discussed
Gee, it's almost like Russia's making fun of you and sending even more troops in.
additional Russia sanctions.
We discuss it all the time. There's nothing else I talk to him. I don't consider him very exciting to talk to, except when we're talking about legislation. And we talk about legislation all the time. You think that's an exciting relationship? It's not. But we talk a lot about legislation, and we have great legislation coming. You want to tell them?
So the tariff bill, so here's what I believe. I don't think we could have secured the border without the threat of tariffs.
Oh, God. All right. Next. So let me do one more quick thing before I leave because I started up late. And I feel like where is it? We already did that one. Yeah, here you go. This is the quality of Alex Jones, who's against, New World Order kind of neocon empire, that kind of shit, always has been until now. Has the Don Roe doctrine, which is so fucking lame. I mean, this is like unselect committee level. The quality is pathetic these days.
The real reason you're stiff after sitting.
It's because you eat blue noodles
without getting old.
As long as you don't eat
If you have dogs, stop throwing your eggshells away.
Is your dog constantly itching and scratching?
No.
Try this 60-second.
This country's 250 years old. No nation or empire has ever survived past 250.
Yeah, because food was scarce. And also, I mean, Russia's changed, and China have changed systems, but the people are still there in general in a big group. The governance of it shifts.
Notice the CFR and the globalists had written us off that it was going to be the Chinese century and it was all over. But the last minute, we got Trump back in.
Yeah, it was the last minute. Yeah, China's economic collapse isn't because, Biden skull fucked them the entire time he was in office. Trump did nothing but suck up to the Chinese, and he's still doing it.
He's making all the right moves.
Yeah, baby.
To reassert our economic dominance, to
regime change, imperialist wars for resources. It's almost like you envy Russia in a lot of ways.
Control of this hemisphere and to decouple.
From who?
From the rules-based order of the UN and the globalists. The world government. And it's the only move we had, and it's the right moves. Is it going to be executed perfectly? No.
I mean, obviously, Greenland, Panama Canal, Venezuela, Colombia, invading our own Gulf, it's sort of a waste of time and money and illegal and all that kind of stuff.
But make no mistake, what you see out of Trump is being done for the American people. How the Don Roe doctrine reinforces Xi's vision of power in Asia. And it's true that Russia and China want a tripolar world.
By the way, you're reading the New York Times and crediting it as a source?
But the UN, the EU, the globalist project was so corrupt and evil, and China double-crossed it on top of that it fell apart. So that whole system already failed. It's not like, should we get away from the UN rules-based New World Order global government system where the globalists direct everybody, or should we go with the new tripolar world? It's already here. It's not a debate. And then Trump's coming into the vacuum saying, all right, we'll get all the foreign investment.
There's only a tripolar world because Trump distanced us from our allies in Europe.
The rare earth minerals, we'll take control of our hemisphere again. We'll kick the Chi-Coms out of Panama Canal and out of Venezuela, and we'll get all these jobs back, and we'll boost everything.
Oh, sorry. What was that part where we lost 40,000 manufacturing jobs this year? Or last year?
And then...
Sorry, it's 2026, and I'm still putting 2025 on my jokes.
We'll stop the third world invasion. I mean, he's
We'll stop the third world invasion. Well, I think we started the third world invasion.
doing what he should do.
Why is the music so gay? All right. Sorry, I have to jump ahead. These things.
Sherry, the Supreme Court, we have the legislative, Congress, and the Senate, and we have the executive. And now is the time to get rid of the filibuster. The Democrats have said they are going to get rid of it when they get in the Senate ever.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't. They would have.
So with only 51 votes in the Senate, Trump he's got more than that right now, what, 54? But you got to have that supermajority to do anything under the filibuster. We have got to drop the hammer on them now. We've got to break the glass. We've got to get the fire axe here. And we've got to, again, have urgency.
Who the fuck is we, motherfucker? I thought you said lizard people run the goddamn globe. Isn't the American government just a puppet of some sort of MK Ultra alien conspiracy? Why, you think because Trump got elected, it's suddenly fucking magic? Sorry, he uses the system that's in place and you think suddenly the system works?
See, at every level. And Trump is absolutely right that if he loses the midterms, the Dems will impeach him.
Yeah. I think that would generally be. I think we can all. Where's my little thing? Whatever. There we go. Agreed. Sorry, you want to say that again, shithead?
We have got to drop the hammer on them now. We've got to break the glass. We've got to get the fire axe here. And we've got to, again, have urgency at every level. And Trump is absolutely right that if he loses the midterms, the Dems will impeach him. He points out we've got to get voter ID. Well, he signed the executive orders to pull federal funds from states that don't make you have an ID. And now the midterms are less.
By the way, the voter ID is going to hurt more maggots than it's going to hurt Democrats, just for the record.
Than a year away. So
we're going to make sure people are registered and have their proper ID. We'll do that because we actually give a shit about democracy. Their problem is this asshole has told everyone, well, shit, I'm sure we can find him doing fucking hours on real ID being, part of the fucking satanic plan.
Hail to the king, baby.
All right.
Urgency is just white hot right now. And Trump has the urgency. And they've been getting some things done on that front, but not enough.
Now you're quoting Politico?
Trump won't.
How far the flabby have fallen.
Quit the filibuster fight. Thune can't give him what he wants.
Yeah, because, only Putin knows how to do it right. You know what I mean? Come on. He likes it overhand. Thune, you can't give him, you can't do the cradle. Never mind.
It's got to be done, ladies and gentlemen. This country's 250 years old. No nation or empire has ever survived past 250.
Yeah, again, the Byzantine Empire, the Ottoman Empire, the fucking Jerusalem, and the Judea and Samaria. This is just stupid.
And you notice the CFR and the globalists had written us off that it was going to be the Chinese century and it was all over. But the last minute we got Trump back in, he's making all the right moves to reassert our economic dominance, to get...
But you mean buy off all these countries, flood Argentina with billions of dollars while the Midwest fucking struggles? Sorry about your grocery prices, but we really had to bail out Argentina, you fucks.
Control of this hemisphere and to decouple from the rules-based order of the UN and the globalists.
Yeah, squint when you say that. It makes it sound tough.
World government. And it's the only move we had, and it's the right moves. Is it going to be executed perfectly? No.
He just plays this shit on a loop. So aggravating. The hilarious part is them trying to just wipe his ass. That's what we're seeing mostly from the maggots, is just them wiping Trump's ass. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. One last stupid person. Give me 1 second. You have made it to. Thank you. Just barely. One last thing. Hit that like. Share the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwiide. This is Dimpool. Maduro in court. Democrats slammed for hypocrisy over intervention in Venezuela. How? Like putting a bounty on the guy's head and wanting him arrested or captured or having somebody, maybe on his own side put him in a fucking boat and push him out to sea is different than us having to risk our service members' lives invading a country.
In one of the most shocking military operations we've seen in a very long time.
It's pronounced schlocking.
U.S. has effectively conquered Venezuela.
Yes, thank God we ended all that regime change and conquered
and arrested their president, Maduro, overnight. I was chilling. I think I was watching like Black Clover anime, not paying attention to the news, and I went to bed.
Yeah, of course you were.
Then woke up.
Because that's, it's a day ending in Y.
And found out that we had captured the president of Venezuela, and are now occupying their government in essence. Some argue that we're not.
Yes, in essence.
Really doing it. And this.
Some argue we're not really doing it. Who? Who is arguing we're not really doing it?
This is a massive action by the U.S. There's a lot of implications for it. And the liberals are apoplectic. They're losing their minds. Now, the latest news is that Maduro is expected to appear in court today on narco trafficking, terror charges of that something of that nature.
Yes. And the most amazing thing is that he's going to use a public defender. And because there's no actual evidence that can be presented in court that doesn't, interfere with the national security, he'll probably walk, I guess.
I'm going to say this very easily for everybody, because this one is, I just want to give you my thoughts and views on everything that's going on.
Yeah, please. That's what we tune in for.
And with Venezuela, as I didn't at the time, we were on the holiday hiatus. I'm not a big fan of intervention and regime change.
Until now.
They never have played out well.
But now this will be different.
Venezuela is not the same thing as Afghanistan or Iraq. It's much closer to us with a direct impact on our hemisphere, and our economy and the neighboring countries, etc. So there's infinitely more reasons for this military operation than anything we did in Iraq and Afghanistan.
So just to be clear, maggots are completely cool with regime change wars as long as they happen in Latin America and South America, where American intervention has a great history. We just want, as long as it's there, it's a matter, it's not so much the moral or ethical or legal or constitutional element of it. It's simply geography. All those other places are in the don't give a fuck zone. Sorry, Tim Pool is 39 years old?
Because I don't think we're going to get a clean out. We don't know what's going to happen. It may be good. Either way, there's danger here. That being said, it's not the same thing as sending tens of thousands of troops halfway around the planet.
No, because that would require an act of war and a declaration of war, rather, by the Congress. And he circumvented that by just naming Maduro and everybody around him a terrorist and using the AUMF to do this.
This is our back door. This is Monroe Doctrine. Allowing China, Iran, Russia to operate through Venezuela is an absurdity. Now, what's the big picture here? There's two things. This ain't about drugs. Anybody telling you about drugs, they're selling you the fake picture. And
you mean Trump and all of his people?
I get it. It's politics. So you've got the Trump administration.
Yeah. Trump's in because he's not a regular politician. He doesn't just bullshit you. Come on. Okay, this guy, he's a straight shooter. He didn't talk like out of both sides of his mouth like these other Democrats, the Democrats and these rhinos. He says it like it is. People like him because he says what's right, even if it's unpopular. So just because he's lying in this particular case and it's an egregious and obvious lie, it's necessary. It's a necessary lie. You let it slide. Just cut the guy some slack. Free health.
And you got Rubio. You got these guys being like, look, these are narco trafficking charges. They're sending criminals, gangs, cartels. They're sending drugs, fentanyl. Sure. It's all true, but we refer to this as a casus belli. We are a cause for war. We are saying that the reason we went into not Afghanistan, Venezuela, was because they've aggressed upon us. We have a just cause. Okay, sure.
No, we don't need a reason for war. He's using the war on terror as the reasoning.
But there's a real motivation behind this. It has to do with Iran, China, the petrodollar, oil. It is about supplant
the petrodollar. Oh my God! I feel like I've died and gone to 2004.
It destroy.
Real quick, is there a washing machine dollar too? Is there an IKEA dollar? Because most IKEA in the world is traded on U.S. dollars and the materials to make it. So,
effectively, Iran's operations through Venezuela, China's access to cheap oil. It has less to do with Venezuela and more to do with the escalating conflict between the BRICS nations and the NATO nations. Trump has said,
the BRICS nations. Is that still? You still think that's a thing?
You're not going to pull a fast one on us. And
yeah, man, he's got your number.
I'm going to tell you outright, he's not wrong. But let's break this down. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the liberal.
Not wrong about what?
Hypocrisy and the retardation of politics. Fact statement: Venezuela is better off. This is not up for debate.
Yeah, Iran is better off without Saddam Hussein. Afghanistan was better off without the Taliban. Russia would be better off without Putin. Iran would be better off without the Ayatollah. China would be better off without Xi Jinping. And?
It's a fact statement. Venezuela was one of the wealthiest nations in South. It was the wealthiest nation in South America and in the Western Hemisphere. And then Chavez got in. And at first, things weren't so bad. At first, people started, literacy was increasing and things seemed to be improving. The problem is with socialism.
And then the movie Bananas came out.
Eventually run out of other people's money. And that's what happened. And then the economy tanked. People were starving. Literacy was dropping. It got bad. Oh, but
they were so hungry they forgot how to read.
Don't worry, 5 cents on the gallon for gasoline, but you still couldn't run your country properly and people couldn't have jobs.
Well, it turns out it ran on coal, so that's rough.
Maduro was a bus driver who was effectively installed. He is not somebody who has won elections, and there have been protests. The National Guard in Venezuela had been murdering, shooting students who protested, and people have been fleeing the country. The country is better off without Maduro running it.
Yeah, and insert African nation here.
It's a fact. We will see some improvement, and it may not be short-term, it may not be long-term. We don't know. We don't know. Now, the reason why I oppose this intervention is there's no guarantees things are going to improve for us. The question is, why would we do it?
Right. Yeah.
But here's the point. Venezuela's going to be better off without Maduro. That's a fact. He's a bus driver. He didn't even know what he was doing.
Sorry. Is it the bus driving part is what's wrong with him? Not the torture and murder and the narco. That's if you got something against bus drivers. The fuck's wrong with you?
The country was starving, and homie pulled an empanada out of his drawer and took a bite on TV while everyone's starving. They said, go eat rabbits. You can't. It's called rabbit starvation. They're going to offend in their body. But rabbits, they reproduce so much. Shut up. That's so stupid. Just because they eat a lot.
You tell them. Yes. That is true, by the way. If you eat too much rabbit, you will. It leaches more nutrients from your body than you get from eating it. I think it would have occurred to them eventually after the 9th rabbit that day.
And they grow cows, man. Anyway, Brian.
Yeah, or at least plant some cow trees and see what happens.
Krasenstein, in his fake political fake everything.
I think he actually does give a shit. He's just because you're a fraud. I mean, and you need to project this on other people, does not mean that they are automatically frauds, for the record. So it might do you some good to actually take some criticism seriously, just to check, even if it's just to kick your own tires, you know?
He responds, so you support us invading a sovereign nation, kidnapping their leader, eventually putting boots on the ground, all to take the oil that is in the ground under their land so that our oil companies can get rich? Seems like this doesn't go very well with what you said in the past. Want me to pull the clips? This is why it's so fake.
Because he's pointing out that you're fake?
I also said the U.S. economy is about to boom because of all the free oil we're about to get. It's a fact statement.
Why? Why would we boom when we've got an oil glut already?
We go in, You know what I can't stand about these liberals? They're lying. They just lie because it's...
Sorry, that's not even the point he's trying to make. Fuck me. This guy's such a dipshit. Krassenstein would have had to written... He could respond to this, for example, by saying, all of a sudden, why weren't you are you saying that you believe we should have attacked Venezuela for the oil for years? Have you been saying that? Because it would make the economy boom when we needed it? No. You're just you're trying to put a positive spin as you polish Trump's turds again.
Not about what's true. It's about them pretending that I'm wrong. They just...
Yeah, that's what he means. Yeah, that's how I read it.
Hate me for no reason, even if what I'm saying is it's a fact. Okay, Venezuela's better off without Maduro. He's a bad guy. Doesn't mean it's good.
Oh, no. You didn't say Venezuela's better off without Maduro. Right? With the premise being that if another leader from Venezuela took over or the vice president moved up or there was some substructure of the government that actually ran things better because he was particularly stupid and had his thumb on everything. And then once that thumb was removed, kind of like if Xi Jinping was taken out, that's what would happen. You know, that thumb would come off everybody's scale and they'd be able to measure for real and they could make some real changes. And, you know, that's not what you said. You didn't say Venezuela's better off without Maduro. You just said it's better off, period. Prove it.
That we're going in and removing him from power. Well, let me show you. We got so much to go through. I got all of this stuff pulled up. Here's the Chris Murphy thing. In 2019, Democrat said, if Trump cared about consistency, he would make the realist case for intervention in Venezuela. Getting rid of Maduro is good for the U.S., rather than trying to pretend his administration all of a sudden cares about toppling anti-democratic regimes. Good point, Democrat Senator. You must be pleased that you're... Oh. He then tweeted, airstrikes on land targets. The illegality of Trump's insane war in Venezuela is out of control. Remember, this has nothing to do with stopping drugs from entering America. Venezuela produces cocaine bound for Europe. This is warmongering distraction. And then...
Yeah, intervention, which I would argue is sanctions and funding groups inside, is totally different than invading the fucking place. If you think intervention means invasion, then you're a moron.
People go, but Tim, people can change their minds. Sure, that was always...
I don't even think he's changed his mind. I think you don't understand that different words have different meanings.
Allowed, but this is just another example of these people never had an opinion that to begin with. Take a look at this. Will Chamberlain tweeted, the Biden-Harris administration made available a $25 million reward for information that would have led to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Now you're saying capturing him was unlawful? Did you just entirely forget your administration's policy?
Yeah, that's not invading to do it. That's making that money available so that somebody in his own country will capture him or turn him over. So that we don't have to endanger our soldiers. What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Donald Trump's actions in Venezuela do not make America safer, stronger, or more affordable. That Maduro is a brutal, illegitimate dictator does not change the fact that this action was both unlawful and Shut up. Just stop. Okay?
Yeah, we know you don't care about law and order and you don't care about the Constitution. That's all nonsense. And in general, it's sort of like business hypocrisy, I guess, is how you would define it. Oh, tenant media boy.
I have no problem sitting here and saying to you, Maduro is a bad guy. Venezuelans are happy to see him go. Not all of them, a lot of them. Venezuelans in the diaspora who have fled the country certainly are happy. But there's questions about what is the true benefit to the United States and whether or not it's something we should do. There's a debate. Matt Walsh, Viva Fry, got some going back and forth, and I'm going to read them for you.
Right. So one of those people, I guess, Matt Walsh, or Viva Fry, are on fucking Harris and or Murphy's side on this then.
But the reality is, my concerns are long-term effects. My concerns are escalation from China. But there's a reality. I said it in 2016, and I'll say it again today, and I've said it 50 million times in between. A vote for the neoliberal, neocon establishment will make your life better. Period. When we steal oil and enforce the petrodollar, our economy is artificially inflated, and you reap the benefits. So when these liberals go, it's just for these oil corporations to make billions of dollars. Yes, and that is the United States economy. Congratulations.
No, it isn't. These are multinational corporations, and BP isn't an American fucking company.
We don't output things. We print money and then force the world at gunpoint to use our dollar to buy oil. So we get...
Well, okay, we're responsible for, like, the invention of and the patents on and the intellectual property rights of something like almost 40% of the electronics on the fucking globe. And a good, I would say, third of the auto market, and we're tiny compared to the rest of the world.
The oil for free. What do we got to do, though? We got to make sure we stop Venezuela from supplying the BRICS nations. So there you go.
So why didn't we just blockade it and call it a day?
Does it mean it's a good moral thing to do? No. Does it mean that we're going to get the bill won't come due? The bill will come due. It always does.
Yeah, but it won't happen to you, so who gives a shit? You're not going to serve. Your kids aren't going to serve if you even fucking have any. You're not going to care about the ramifications. And wherever the fuck you are in West Virginia, you think you're going to be far away from whatever target gets hit. It's not like you're going to be in fucking New York the next time a tower is struck, right?
So that's why I'm lukewarm on this. I feel that the U.S.
This asshole is lukewarm on fucking everything. This is exactly why I'm in a moral gray area with this, along with my, intellectually. And I'm in a sludgy place.
Has proven time and time again our interventions are failures. Seriously. However, let's not be morons. There's a big difference between Venezuela and Afghanistan.
Ugh.
If we send boots on the ground in Venezuela, problem.
Okay, thanks, CSL.
We did a sort of, but we just captured the guy and got out. It was like a crazy short operation. And I say, okay, Venezuela's in our back door. It neighbors us.
No, it's not.
In the Gulf.
Yeah, it neighbors Cuba in the Gulf.
We have territorial waters there, and there are problems with narco gangs, traffickers, and...
No, we don't. We don't have territorial waters near Venezuela. It's international water.
And Venezuela is funding and supplying problems in our hemisphere. It behooves us to deal with these crimes in our backyard. That doesn't mean I think Trump was right to do this.
Oh my God, this is so fucking lazy. Then, okay. Maduro's a criminal. He's a terrible human being. I don't know how much his wife was involved. I hope that will come out in court. The bounty on his head and all that kind of stuff makes total sense legally. But endangering service people to go in and snatch this fucker in a foreign country, in a sovereign country that we are not at war with, is a violation of our own constitutional order. That's what makes the fucking country worthwhile. America isn't just our borders, it's our constitution, our system of law, our ethics and morals as a country that define us. And if it's just the lowest possible common denominator, then how can you say you're America first? It sounds like you want America to fucking evaporate. Yes, you can't solve crimes. That makes you, you can't solve crimes doing crimes. That just makes you criminal. Right. Look at that. Nice chat room. Bunch of likes. Look at that. Well, it's a good time to sign off then. Hit the like, everybody. Share the show. It's so good to be back with you guys. I will be back. I'll be here morning and afternoon tomorrow. But in the middle of the day, I'm going to CES, to the Consumer Electronics Show, because I have my very own creative content creator badge or whatever. I'm media. God damn it. And so I'm going to go down there and post some videos from there and maybe do a little bit of live streaming when I'm there as well, because I can nerd out, because that's what I do. And so it's going to be a busy, long day tomorrow. And one of these days I will catch you guys up on the current unpleasantness that made me late tonight. But for the time being, just know that we're holding it together, and I love you guys, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, but I will try as best I can. Anyways, much love. I think the next time you see me, I may be clean shaven because I have an audition. And so I don't know, but it looks all right. I feel like I could, feel like I could audition with this. They understand I could shave, right? It's not a problem. Anyways, we'll figure it out. Much love, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And this song goes out to our dear friend, Dim Drool over there, Mr. Condom Hat. And there are very few songs that sum him up better than this one. Hit the like, share the show. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. That is not an AI picture of Donald Trump. That is real.
Promises made, they rot in the air. A handshake, a lie, a blank, cold stare.
Just follow the money.
Puppets dance, the strings are tight. Shadows whisper in the dead of night.
That was just bullshit, Joel.
Bullshit! This is some bullshit.
Negative function.
We see through it. This is some bullshit.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Can't undo it.
Groovy.
We won't quit.
Throw me a freaking bone here.
This is some bullshit.
Hail to the king, baby.
Paper thin truths that crumble like ash. Golden thrones built on stolen cash. We raise our fists.
So that's the kind of fun it's gonna be.
The mold. Your house of cards is getting old.
Wow, wow, wee, wow.
Static hums, the wires ignite. Truth's a bomb, we're ready to fight.
Oh, nice marmot. I love lamb.
This is some bullshit. We see through it.
You think you know something about everything, don't you?
This is some bullshit. Can't undo it.
Which word didn't you understand?
Say it loud. We won't quit.
Oh, hello there.
This is some bullshit.
Why are you dressed like that? Okay, you know, you guys aren't privy to all the new shit, so, you know, but hey, that's what you pay me for.
Something strange happened to me this morning. Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at? No. Am I the only person that has that dream?